say someone goes and visits a dairy farm or talks to a dairy farmer at a farmer's market, what are some questions they should ask, especially considering it might be completely new to them to do this?
A big thing is how they source their grains. I'm not saying I could open a whole can of worms by saying like we have thought of offering a grain finished beef. And the only reason we would do that would see if we could make meat more affordable for a consumer. The only reason I would consider that is because I know the farm that the corn would be grown on, and I know the corn would be clean, and so I know that, so I think that's part of it. It's going to be, you can ask all the questions, is it grass fed? Are the cows kept in a barn? Are they given antibiotics? What type of, do they do health checks every year? Stuff like that. You can ask all those questions and they can check all the boxes, but they're still sourcing from a dirty source, so to speak. And so if a farmer is willing to let you come out and ask the questions, he's probably safe to buy from. Not always, but very few farms are willing to let you come out unless they're willing to sell to you. So if a farmer is willing to let you come out, look in his barn, and ask those questions, he's probably not trying to hide too much.
And then more with raw milk too, in terms of like testing and all of that, how could they go about asking those questions?
So if he sells to a co-op, all his milk can be tested. There are some co-ops that allow you to sell little bits on the side. So the co-op would be testing all that. You can ask about his cleanliness procedures, on-farm labs. We have an on-farm lab. We just put that in this year, and it sounds very sophisticated and overwhelming to get started. It's not. I mean, you can get them started for $1,000 or less. So it's not that hard. You just have to do a little bit to understand how to read them and take the samples. So if they're doing stuff like that, they're trying. And we just did an email on this. My marketer put an email out about the raw milk and testing, how we test. And we're now putting our test results on our website so people can see how clean our milk is and stuff like that. And if you get milk and it only lasts for 6 days in the fridge, it's probably not very clean. Our milk typically lasts 10, 12 days, sometimes 14 days. And so it's a cleaner milk. So that's one thing, if you buy from a stand on the side of the road, you don't really know what you're getting. And I promote those. Like, I think that's a great way, but it's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah. My last question then with all that too, the economics of it all, because a lot of consumers too will see the price of raw milk and they're just thinking they're getting gypped off by that. Mm-hmm. But I know there's massive differences between, again, pasteurized and raw milk. So can we just talk on why majority of America, the price of raw milk is almost like 1.5 to 2 times more than pasteurized milk in stores?
Probably because it costs that much to produce it. So usually if a farmer is doing raw milk, he doesn't have quite as high production. And it just depends a lot on overheads. There are some farmers out there that would be selling it high because they can.
Yeah.
And they could be price gouging somewhat. But the other thing, like my neighbor used to sell, he had 2 or 3 cows. He had a stand out by the side of the road, and he would sell milk for half price of what I sell it. And he didn't take any of my customers either. But his overhead was next to nothing. He hand milked, he hand filtered, so he had no overhead costs, and that's what it cost him to produce it. He didn't have a lab, he didn't do on-farm testing, he didn't do a bunch of that stuff. So that's usually farmers they're not getting rich, but I'm not sure why you wouldn't want them to get rich. I mean, if a farmer can't make it, you're going to be eating lab-grown meat, and that's just so I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit of a mind shift that has to be changed. I think a lot of people think farmers are the low class. They're the dumb ones of society, so to speak, and that they don't expect them to be profitable. And I think that's a mindset that should change a little bit, or is changing, I think.
No, I definitely agree with that.